expensive amp versus expensive guitar. Now, a question old as time itself. What should you invest in first? An expensive guitar or an expensive amplifier? So having the expensive guitar typically looks better, it's going to feel better than its cheaper counterpart, the pickups are always going to be better than the cheaper ones, and you can show off that you've got the expensive version. Now, your expensive amplifier, it's always about the sound, so it's always going to sound better than the cheaper counterpart, and that's all you need to care about. So that's why you should always prioritize the amplifier over the guitar. For instance, this cheap amplifier here is not going to make much of a difference to the cheap or the expensive guitar. Here's the cheap guitar. And here's the expensive. Now for the cheap guitar in the expensive amplifier. And now for the comparison, the expensive guitar, expensive amp. You see where I'm getting at with this. This guitar is about £300, this one is about £1,400. And it doesn't matter how good either one of those guitars are, they could have amazing pickups, they could have all the specs, but if they're coming out of a rubbish speaker, amplifier, then, well, it's going to sound like rubbish. Now, to make this clear, I'm not saying get yourself one of these massive amplifiers, because that's not going to do you any favours either. Something like this is big, clunky, heavy, annoying to get around to gigs, so you actually want to get the smaller sort of compressed version, and they're around about sort of £500–600. And if I'm being super real with you, I don't even use amps anymore. I use amp simulators, and they go through my speakers. It's cheap, they're like £120 per plugin, and each plugin has like loads of effects you can choose from, so there's some crunch, now clean, and I can even change the tuning of the guitar if I want, like something really crazy like that. It's, you know, whatever you want, so I prefer it to the traditional amplifier. And the biggest main reason is so I can just record myself at home. So the best way to see all of this is the amplifier is the mouth, is the voice of your guitar, and if the voice of your guitar isn't any good, then it's just not going to sound good. So invest in your amp, get a nice amp, spend 400, 500, 600 quid on some medium style amp, and you'll be fine. You know, these £300 Stratocasters, these Squier versions or anything similar to that are actually amazing these days. You can find cheap guitars that just do the job. So yeah, invest in your amp.